Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Let me show y'all exactly why you haven't seen the collapse like people were saying and stuff like that. Let me prove it to y'all so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Instead of just talking about it, I figured I'd make a video on why you haven't seen everything just go straight downhill. And there's something called credit. That's why everything haven't went downhill yet. But it's going to catch up. And once it catches up, that's when things about to hit the fan. You know what I mean? Let's get into it.
Yeah, truth be told, they ain't ready for this heat. Peel the layers back on every fake facade. They building narratives, we see right through the fraud. I'm the signal cutting through the digital static. My feed is undisputed facts, my flow is cinematic. We expose the truth be told, yeah, the truth be told. Watch the algorithm break as we make it go viral.
This is coming from Vox. So let's get into it so y'all can see what I'm talking about. All right? This is why everything haven't collapsed yet. Because of what? Credit cards, and all that stuff. Repos at an all-time high. All right? There's like a million something cars that need to be repossessed. Foreclosures at an all-time high. Insurance at an all-time high. And everything's falling apart right in front of you, so get ahead of it so you don't get caught in it.
When you think about America's financial capitals, you're probably picturing New York City, Chicago, maybe San Francisco, not South Dakota or Delaware. But when it comes to credit cards, that's exactly where the power is. And the reason why has everything to do with the interest rates you pay. And those rates right now
are at historic highs. And there's growing concern more and more people will fall into debt.
The average APR for a credit card is now over 19%, an economic perfect storm.
Altogether, Americans now carry more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. Take a second to just let that number sink in. In 2024, about 8 in 10 Americans had at least one credit card, and we use them for virtually everything.
Millions of Americans are using credit cards just to stay alive.
So we're talking about medical bills, car repairs, home repairs, day-to-day expenses, things like that.
Now listen, I have credit cards. I do. But I use them like a debit card, okay? If I'm going to do a purchase here, I use the card. When it comes up, as soon as it shows that it's not pending no more, I pay it off. I'm fortunate to do that, all right? Not everybody's fortunate to do that. Don't put yourself in debt behind these credit cards. Don't do it, all right? These credit cards will destroy your life. Credit is just a number. You just don't need credit to get a loan, all right? Just off the money that you make, you can also get a loan without credit. Don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled by that. They got you thinking that, oh, you need credit. Without credit, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's not true. It's not true. If you want, let me know and I'll show you a video how people are doing it without even having a credit score and getting loans and stuff like that because they got the paperwork to show of the amount of money that they make and all that stuff, and they just not into credit, all right?
Gas and groceries.
So how did we get here? And why do these interest rates keep climbing higher and higher? And maybe more importantly, why have credit cards become so central to how we pay for everyday life? The modern idea of using credit to make a purchase goes back to the 1950s. Department stores, car dealers, and more were already letting customers buy now and pay later. At first it was simple, charge plates or small tokens tied to a single store. Then in the 1950s, that idea scaled.
Credit cards as we know them started.
Hold on. Not just credit cards. That Klarna Afterpay stuff, you'll get trapped off on that too because you're thinking like, oh, all I'm paying is $10 a week. But then if you got one that's $10, one that's $15, one that's $20, one that's $30, one that's $40, when you look at it, you're spending $100 to $125 a week out your check and don't even know it because of the buy here, pay here. You know what I mean? So be careful with that too, all right?
In the 1950s as a restaurant payment method, basically kind of an IOU, and then pretty quickly evolved into being used much more widely.
Legend has it, a businessman named Frank McNamara was out to dinner in New York, and he realized he had forgotten his wallet. Embarrassed, he had to call his wife to come pay for the bill. But that moment sparked an idea, a card you could carry so you never had to worry about cash again. That idea became Diners Club, one of the first charge cards which you paid off every month. Then, banks took it a step further. In 1958, Bank of America launched Bank AmeriCard, which would eventually become Visa.
Bank AmeriCard. Think of it as money.
Unlike Diners Club cards, this let you carry a balance month to month, and that's where interest enters the picture. At first, those rates were tied to where you lived, but that all changed in 1978.
Damn, I'm getting old, man. I remember when they used to use that thing to put the numbers of the credit card on the carbon fiber paper, and then you sign it for that amount, man. Damn, I'm old, bro. Damn, I'm getting old.
Speaking of money, this video is presented by Klarna. Klarna is an app designed to make everyday spending simpler and more transparent. It gives you the flexibility to decide how you want to pay, whether that's right now, later.
Okay, hold on, man. Let me apologize about this right here. I don't want to see nothing. Let me fast forward this Klarna thing. No, don't do that. Don't do that by here, pay here. Okay? Don't do that by here, pay here, please. Hold on. Don't do that by here, pay here, please. All right?
Case back in the 70s that declared that it's where the bank is based, not the customer, with respect to these state usury laws.
There's a lot of legalese and laws that happen in between, but what you need to know is that this Supreme Court case transformed the credit card industry.
So that incentivized banks to set up shop in places like Delaware, South Dakota, Utah, places that either don't have an interest rate cap or have a very high cap.
This helped make credit cards a key profit source for banks, and their popularity grew pretty quickly. By 1999, there were more than 365 million open credit accounts in the U.S. And since then, credit card usage has skyrocketed, and so have interest rates.
Back in 2010, it was around 10%. Now, we're looking at almost double that for the average.
These days, the average American carries around $6,000 of credit card debt, and more people than ever are charging not just for convenience. Here's a pretty common example of how debt can pile up pretty fast. Say your car breaks down. You don't have the extra cash to pay for it, so you put the repair on your card. You plan to pay it off, but life happens, and you keep paying just the minimum payment because it's all you can afford. Seems reasonable. After all, that's what credit cards are for.
If you have $5,000 in credit card debt and you make minimum payments at 20 or 25%, I mean, you could easily be in debt for a decade or more.
Think about it as walking up the down escalator. Each step you take, that's your minimum payment. But the escalator is pulling you down at the same time. So even though you're moving, you're barely getting anywhere. And the longer you do that, the faster the escalator gets and the further away you get from climbing your way out of debt.
As long as you're paying the minimum, you're behaving in terms of fulfilling your obligations to the credit card company.
Man, it's kind of messed up, but it's a scam, man. I think they need to do something about that. Credit cards make a ton of money, man. Like, they charge the person that you give them the credit card at that business, they charge them. You know what I'm saying? Then they charge you. And it's a capitalistic country, but I think that a lot of these credit cards are predatory. To me, a lot of them are predatory. I think it's sad that they're taking advantage of people in this type of way. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me, okay? I get it. I'm a capitalist. I like to get money too, but not like this where you're taking advantage of people.
But you are becoming more and more indebted, and that's what then makes it very, very difficult to crawl out of.
And that is by design.
Credit card companies are not charities. They are trying to make a profit.
About half of cardholders pay in full.
Yeah, hold up. Hey, Vox, man, let me ask you a question, bro. Because this is bugging me out. Why y'all making a video about credit card debt, but y'all got Klarna as presented by Klarna, or whatever the hell it's called, or Klarna, whatever. Buy here, pay here, basically. Buy now, pay later. And yet making a video about credit card debt. That's an oxymoron. Like, why would y'all even let them present, this, whatever, man. Like, crazy, man. I'm glad y'all made y'all money off of it, though.
Every month. The other half that carries expensive debt, that's a real trap that some people fall into.
In 2022, major banks collected $105 billion worth of interest payments. And that interest is based on something called APR.
With APR, we're talking about annual percentage rate, basically the interest rate that you're charged.
APR is based in part on the current prime rate, which is influenced by the Federal Reserve and currently sits at 6.75%. So why is your credit card APR still nearly 20%? It's because APR isn't just one number. It's the prime rate plus a big margin on top.
So we have to remember that those credit card companies are trying to make a profit.
A credit card is a loan. It's not backed by an underlying home or car. There's no underlying asset on.
That's why everybody's in business. They're trying to make a profit. But presented by Klarna, Klarna, excuse me. I keep saying Klarna. Presented by Klarna, whatever. Okay. They predatory just as well. And they got people in debt and collecting a ton of money. So what are we talking about here? Like, you gotta make it make sense. The whole purpose of this video so you can see that the debt crisis and what's going on, okay, why things haven't collapsed so quick as people wondering, like, how come is everything still going if everything's messed up? Because of credit and buy here, pay here, or buy now, pay later is also the same thing with the auto industry, okay? It's all one big bubble, okay? Just like the AI bubble. You know what I mean?
On the line for repossession.
They are covering themselves for the risk of the credit card holder.
But the risk has also increased as more and more Americans find themselves living paycheck to paycheck.
It's often because wages have not kept up with inflation and because healthcare costs in this country are so significant. Credit card holders are not using their credit cards just because they're in the mood to buy a luxury item.
And it's this question of affordability.
Man, what you didn't say was buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay laters too. You just put in credit cards. There's multiple things that's going on now. You know what I mean? Not just that.
That has some politicians on both sides of the aisle bringing up the idea of capping these interest rates.
I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year.
That is the kind of big structural change that will make a big difference to families across America.
The idea that you don't charge outrageous interest rates, not a radical idea.
The idea sounds simple. Limit how much banks can charge and make borrowing cheaper. Supporters say that could save Americans billions of dollars in interest. But the banks are saying something different.
It would be an economic disaster.
There are some kind of doomsday scenarios about what would happen next.
You really run the risk that credit card companies then will say, okay, I'm going to put a cap on how much you, John and Mary, can charge on your credit card. Or they could turn you away because they think you're too much risk.
They say that more than 80% of cardholders could lose access to credit. They say that this would really dramatically reshape the way we pay for things, could cause a recession if people have less spending power.
Despite the bipartisan support, a federal interest rate cap is unlikely to come anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that the millions of Americans drowning in credit card debt can't take action. Here's what the experts I spoke to recommend.
The best way to use a credit card is to pay it off as quickly as possible.
You need to be paying down the credit card that has the highest rate because that is what's getting you into even more debt.
If you need more time, get a 0% balance transfer card. So that involves opening up a new card, one with a generous 0% promotion. So they say, bring your existing credit card debt over to us. We won't charge interest for 2 years. Now, they're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. Frankly, they're hoping that you carry a balance after the term is up, but you can use it to your advantage.
Experts say people also really need to be careful about the marketing of credit cards. Cashback, airline miles, points for travel and dining are all ways companies try to lure people into opening new accounts.
Are you ever really going to use those points? Is it going to take millions of points for you to get what the credit card claims it's offering?
Credit cards aren't going anywhere. Used one way, they're convenient. Used another, it could be one of the most expensive loans you've ever taken out.
When you think of what can politicians do, it's not just about the credit cards. It's about much, much bigger problems that really can raise the standard of living for everybody who is living here, not just for, a few.
Yeah, the Connor thing, Connor thing threw me off like hell, you know what I mean? But listen, the thing is that you have to have checks and balances. If you don't have the money, just because you got that card, credit cards are not made for emergency purposes. A lot of people use them for emergency purposes. If it's an emergency, I wouldn't use a card. You know what I mean? But, people are not fortunate to do that, all right? 0% credit cards, switching over to another credit card, yeah, whatever, that works. What works is being strong-minded and don't be a consumer. Don't become a consumer. Become a seller than a consumer. All right? But this is why you haven't seen the economy tank as fast as it's supposed to, because of all that stuff that they're putting out there. Some of these car loans and stuff like that are tremendously high, way overpriced. These vehicles are way overpriced. Everything's way overpriced. House prices and all that, everything's too overpriced. And it's unsustainable. All right? Peace and love. Get right with the Most High and the Messiah. Get with like-minded people. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I hope you and your family's well and all that. And, man, hey, just be careful out here, all right? Peace and love.